Bombers get ragdolled CFL Week 1. 2024 season opens up with a Grey Cup rematch and over 30,000 at the Madhouse on Matheson. And in the end, the Bombers couldn't do really much of anything, and they fall to the defending Grey Cup champion Montreal Alouettes 27-12. So much to get to here on Game Day After Dark. Thanks for joining us on Bonfire Sports. Great to see everybody in the live chat. My name is Darrin Bauming. Let's bring in the Blue Bombers superfan who was down at the game tonight, Zach Schnitzer. Initial impressions, Schnitzy, on a game that will be hard to, but will surely be a forgettable one.
I have, if we didn't do the show tonight, buddy, I'd already have forgotten about it.
Would you?
I am chalking this up to preseason game 3. It was
This one's counting.
Stinker. Yeah, it's not preseason, unfortunately. They're 0-1, and they got embarrassed tonight there. And
yeah,
on all 3 phases of the football game, they got absolutely embarrassed. And, you know, we'll get into it, buddy, but like, I think the warts showed. And, you know, you've got a new special teams coordinator in Mike Miller. You've got a new defensive coordinator in the promoted Jordan Younger. But that offense, was largely intact from last year. Buck Pierce at the helm, Zach Schnitzer at quarterback, mostly the same offensive line, mostly the same receivers, 4 of 5, 80%. And they played like garbage. And it quite frankly, like, that phase of the football game shocked me.
Yeah. As Chris Koff joins us live on YouTube. What's going on, Chris? Thanks for joining us. Haven't seen you in the live chat before. Great to see the new people as well as the OGs and the Firestarters in the Game Day After Dark chat. This game counts, says Chris. And yeah, it does. You know, I understand that mentality of saying, hey, okay, let's chalk this up to preseason game number 3. But maybe that's what Winnipeg needed. You know, I pulled up a comment earlier from Ryan Friesen. Here it is again, because Phyllis was asking, what did Walby say? Walby was correct. Walby said probably should have played those starters in a preseason game, and they didn't. That was the first live action Zach Schnitzer saw this year. Nick Dembski, Kenny Lawler, Dalton Schoen. Kenny Lawler, I think, played in the first preseason game. But I've got video that we'll get to of the Kenny Lawler injury, the Chris Streveler ankle wrench from Reggie Stubblefield. A little bit of karma there we'll get into. Of course, your favorite segments that we always get into here on Game Day After Dark, and that is Walby's Warrior, Westwood's Wide to the Right, the Happy Honker, the Bonfire Burning Point, and we'll hand out our game balls as well. And we'll take a look at some highlights and some lowlights from tonight's game. Do you ultimately think, Schnitzy, that this game came down to sloppy play? I would say even on both sides of the football, but the offense, like, this isn't me saying this. This is the team, the players, the coaches. They're saying this right now. They were not good enough. They were nowhere near good enough. And Zach Schnitzer, listening to him on OB just a moment ago, saying that it just came down to execution and that Montreal didn't do anything exotic. They didn't do anything fancy. They just executed better. And, well, they put the league on notice. And if they weren't on notice because of doubters all through the winter and the offseason, they got an APB now that the Alouettes are for real. They go into the hardest stadium in the CFL to play in, where the Bombers went 8-1 last year, and they hand the Bombers their hats.
Their hats, their shirts, their shoes, their pants. Do you know what the worst part was, Darrin? You know, Fajardo breaks our hearts in the Grey Cup after we owned him for so many games and so many playoffs. We wanted to get a little bit of revenge, Darrin. Just a little bit of revenge. And what does he do? You know, it's 20-5 at one point. And then the dagger from the Alouettes is that frickin' flea flicker I don't know who the receiver was for Montreal that scored the touchdown, but he was wide open.
It was Philpott.
And Philpott. And Fajardo was just giving it to the sidelines where the Bombers were. Of course, that's where I sit. And I just see him just like strutting and giving it to us. And I'm just like, oh, I was disgusted, buddy. I had to come home and brush my teeth and just wash out that disgusting taste from my mouth, my friend.
When you look at the numbers of this game, though, Schnitzy, like, they don't tell the story.
No.
Winnipeg had more first downs than Montreal, 17-15, as you see there. Offensive plays were pretty even. Average gain, I mean, nothing crazy there. Net offense, it's not like it was, 450 to 250. It was 325 to 285. But then you move over to three losses from scrimmage, that is. Of course, we'll get into the turnovers in a second, but rushing yards, Winnipeg outrushed Montreal 92-73. Winnipeg actually had a better average per play than Montreal had. It's just Montreal had those big explosion plays. This is a big one. Passing. Winnipeg went 60% passing. Montreal well over 71% passing. Each team, at least is credited with an interception. Did I miss one there? Oh, yeah. No, that's right. Brian Cole had one for Winnipeg. Yards per attempt, I mean, that's definitely Montreal. But moving over here, and you'll see it on the bottom of your screen, big plays. Montreal had 2 30-yard passes plus. I don't know if these are complete numbers. I'll be honest with you. The CFL, of course, has had their battles with stats.
Yeah, well, there was the big Philpott flea flicker, and then there was the one. I don't know if that was the Philpott
speaker.
The one to speaker where Holm misjudged that. That was when Evan. Listen, I know I'm jumping ahead, but when Evan Holm, like, there were veterans on that team that played very poorly, Darren. When Evan Holm is one of them who completely misplays that. That's just inexcusable, but that was just that was just what the game was, right? Like, that was just a microcosm.
You're saying an Evan Holm pass defense was unacceptable?
Well, he went for the ball on that play to Speaker. That was a big pass down the sideline from Fajardo, and he was with him step for step. He just needed to knock the ball away. But he pulls up a little bit and tries to go for the interception or something. He went for the ball. And he got totally torched. Anyway, yeah. I went off topic here, but you're right. The stats don't tell the tale. And in fact, the Bombers' defense played not half bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you too much there. Zach Collaros finished with 209 yards passing, but this is the number I'm looking at. And let me zoom in on the screen here, okay? Oh, pardon me. Pardon my Macintosh. Quarterback efficiency rating of 66.4. That's out of like 130, something like that. Quarterback efficiency rating is graded, but that's, completions, attempts, interceptions way heavy into that, touchdowns way heavy into that, yards per pass way heavy into that. Here's Cody Fajardo's 108.3 as he threw for 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, the one early pick. As he goes 71.4% passing. They didn't run the ball particularly well. I thought if there was a bright spot in the Blue Bombers game tonight, Schnitz, was the defensive front. I thought they did a great job pressuring Fajardo. That led to the Brian Cole touchdown. I thought they did a great job keeping the run very limited. 3 yards a carry for their bell cow, Walter Fletcher. Fajardo, scrambled 7 times for 23 yards, but nothing too daring there. And then just a couple for Sean Thomas Erlington. It was these big plays, right? You like to call them the large. Can't blame you.
At least Philpott's on my fantasy team.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. I drafted your fantasy team.
Hey, no, I picked Philpott, buddy. I picked Philpott.
Well,
I was there for the first couple of picks.
Tyson Philpott is filling the pot. He's just going to the well and filling the pot. He had 76-yard touchdown on the flea flicker, 10 catches on 11 targets for 141 yards. He's probably, he's definitely the early leader for, top player of the week in the CFL week 1.
And who was covering him, Darren? Was it Ford?
Well, you want to look at some highlights?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, let's look at some highlights.
Or lowlights, however you want to describe it.
Right. Well, I'll see what I can pull up here. While I pull those up, let's talk about Sergio Castillo. Missed 2 field goals and then a late convert as well.
Oh, did he miss a convert? We left by then. I'll be honest. My
Johnny
mother-in-law was done.
Johnny Augustine punched a touchdown in late.
God.
But Castillo then missed the convert on that.
That's crazy.
Winnipeg didn't score a touchdown until 68 seconds left in the game. They started the game.
We call that garbage time. We call that garbage time.
Yes, it is.
Sorry, Darren.
No, it's okay. Winnipeg's offense, like it's almost confounding. I hyped this offense up.
Yeah,
so maybe I'm to blame.
You're totally to blame. What did you say to Hustler on Winnipeg Sports Talk?
I said that I expected Winnipeg to be the best team in the league this year.
Yeah, you jinxed us, buddy. It's your fault.
It's all me. I'm trying to make fun of myself, and then you'd make it real.
I'm piling on.
Get out of here.
Piling on, buddy. I'm just mad, and I'm taking it out on you. That's what Freud called displacement, folks. Have a bad day at the office, come home and kick the dog. That's displacement.
Okay. Well. Yeah. I'm your displacer tonight.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Exactly. Displacement. Sure.
Yeah. Philpott had a couple touchdowns. I mean, this was the one early. If I can pull this one up, let's see how it works. Big thanks to CFL on TSN for
good work, guys.
The highlights. But this was obviously a soft zone and a bit of a, this is where the defense is playing to the middle of the field. And here you have Solomon Karamoko, the global dime backer. Here you have the starting dime backer, Reddick Ramsey. And back here off screen is the Blue Bombers cornerback and halfback coverage. And you see them coming in late. This was
who was that
Terrell
number
Bonds.
30? You missed that. Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a good play call against the defense Winnipeg was running. I think often...
But Bonds should have tackled him there. Like, he whiffed big time. Don't you think? Was that number 30 is Bonds?
Oh, you know what? I think I'm looking at it again. I think that's Tyrell Ford.
Ford is 30. Yeah,
but
that was a
often people say Winnipeg's playing this soft defense and that's why they got scored on all night. They don't play it all the time. I think the times that they do, teams take advantage of it. But of course, we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out here. This was a play that Derek Wigan got to the quarterback. Oh, I got the wrong one. Hang on a second. Here we go. This right here was a great play from Derek Wigan to just beat Chris Kolinkowski up the middle. And it keeps freezing on me. See if we can take another look. Wiggins just bull rushing Chris Kolinkowski. And here, let's see if we can zoom in a bit. There's Chris Kolinkowski, the Blue Bombers all-star center. And he just got bull rushed. By Derek Wigan. And he gets to the quarterback. So, the offense had a tough time, Schnitzy, kind of in all facets. Collaros made some nice throws. He also threw some bad balls, including the interception by Marc-Antoine Duquois, the all-star safety for the Alouettes. When Kenny Lawler went down, they sent a lot of attention to Dalton Schoen, and Collaros, he's going to go to his guys because they're the ones that are going to make plays, and it ended up biting them a bit.
Yeah. It really did, and seeing I mean, that's just insult to injury. That's salt in the wound. Pick your metaphor, but seeing Kenny Lawler go out, Kenny
Mhm.
Lawler, I think, to me anyway, on the eye test, is the number one receiver on this team. I know Dalton Schoen is arguably the best receiver in the league. Forget just on the team, but seeing him go out, I just thought the Bombers' offense really struggled after that. I mean, that was a bad underthrow by Zach Collaros, although he had
Yeah.
pressure in his face, to be fair. But,
Yeah,
reminded me of the Grey Cup.
if you watch it, Sean Lemon, here, I'm going to pull it back. I was watching this with Paul Friesen during the game. So here's pre-snap or, right at the snap here. Sean Lemon is not on the edge like he normally is. This is him sitting back here. He kind of is like lining up defensive tackle. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor or my cursor on the screen, but I don't know. Maybe you can see it. But this is Sean Lemon right above the P in the skip ad, right behind this line marker. Okay. And as the play develops, he kind of just sits in wait. I got to zoom out so I can actually press play on this thing. He sits in wait and gets to Collaros.
Yes. Very important. He's going in.
See that?
Yes.
Smart play to just kind of sit
Yes.
back, wait,
Very
and they
important.
know that play is going to develop that way, Schnitzy, because the Blue Bombers love doing that delayed quarterback rollout that kind of gives some misdirection. It's kind of like an RPO, a run pass option, where they make the defense think everything's kind of happening in the middle or to one side, and then Collaros will roll out often against his body like he did there, right-handed quarterback running to his left. And if that play had developed more, it wouldn't have been like we see here, and an underthrown ball to Duquois, but shown a little bit deeper in the end zone. And, he's got a lot of space. Like, this is after Schoen stops, puts his foot in the dirt and stops to come back to the ball, and Duquois right there to pick it off. So if Collaros had more time to roll out, that play would have developed better, and it probably would have turned out a little bit differently for Winnipeg.
Do you think, Darrin, that it's incumbent upon Collaros, if he has pressure in his face and he can't really step into a long throw like that, is that incumbent upon him to just eat it instead of letting it fly like that? Because aren't you putting your receiver and your offense at a disadvantage there, and you're setting yourself up for a turnover? Or am I being,
in retrospect, like in hindsight, I'm sure Zach Collaros will be watching this tonight, tomorrow, whatever, and saying, well, I could have thrown that ball better. Should he have eaten it? Well, look at this. He's got 2 yards before Lemon's there. He's being hurried, but it's not like he was not able to get the ball off. It's just an underthrown ball. But that's what pressure does. The CFL used to chart quarterback pressures, right? You see sacks, tackles for loss. No longer there's those quarterback pressures. And that's, I think, why a lot of defensive linemen, linebackers too, maybe get overlooked a little bit when the voting season comes and people just look at the stats. Pressure is just as good as, well, maybe not a sack, but like a Willie Jefferson knockdown. The reason Willie gets those knockdowns is because he's 6'7", right? But if you're Sean Lemon and you're 6'1", you're getting the pressure, and, well, it results in a turnover. So, there's a lot of factors, like 4D chess, like we talk about often, Schnitzy. There's so many different things that play into it. Here's another interesting play that we should probably draw attention to here. And this was the play that Mike O'Shea ended up challenging. And this is the Sergio Castillo miss from 38 yards, just wide left. And here's James Letcher Jr., who ends up stepping. O'Shea didn't challenge this. The officials went upstairs to find out what happened. And indeed, Letcher did step in bounds into the field of play, and it resulted in a safety touch. But
do you have that play, Darrin? That I wasn't there because I was at my daughter's dance recital. Of course, it landed on the home opener, but whatever. I got there, but I missed the first quarter,
Yeah.
and there was that play where Mitchell fumbles was it the punt return, which set up Montreal for their touchdown that you showed earlier, and apparently Winnipeg challenged no yards, but they lost the challenge and lost the timeout. What did you think of that?
Well, this is what I'll do. I don't have, I'll pull up the play in a second, but here is the CFL's new command center. You can see the command center in Toronto.
Fancy.
And that was when O'Shea did challenge that. Beautiful shot of Princess Auto Stadium there. But there's Myron Mitchell. There's O'Shea looking for it. And here, if you just give me a second, I'm sure I can pull it up. Is there anything else from the game that you wanted to touch on?
Well, I overheard some people ragging on the officials for this game, particularly on that face mask call when Fajardo was escorted out of bounds. I think it was Alexander. From what I saw, there was a decent face mask call. The officials did not lose the Bombers this game by any means.
No.
This was 99.9% the Bombers just choking and looking unprepared today. So don't blame the officials and don't blame Andre Proulx. He's the best official in the game. People make fun of him because of his accent, and sometimes he fumbles his words. He speaks English better than I speak French, and most of you probably speak French. I just think Andre Proulx is an excellent official. That's why he's usually officiating the Grey Cup, Darren. Right. And I don't want to hear about the officials. I do not want to hear about the officials.
Here's the fumble. Here's Myron Mitchell late in the first quarter, and it's Tyrese Beverette, all-star dimebacker for Montreal, stripping. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tyrese Beverette. He's got some game. And then it's Cosby who ends up scooping the ball up. But O'Shea looking for no yards.
Back for a minute.
And I don't see it.
Here he is catching the ball.
I don't see it, no yards.
There he is. That's the moment he has the ball. Now, he's right here at the 15-yard line. And right here is, I think this is Beverette, here at the 20-yard line. Now, this player, you could argue, is within 5 yards. I would say he's at 5 yards, but nobody here is inside 5 yards. Like, that's 5 yards. That's 5 yards. These are definitely 5 yards to the outside, especially this. This guy is way outside 5 yards. The closest are these two in the middle.
Yeah.
There's a better look. This is what the halo is supposed to be. This is legal. So O'Shea, like I tweeted it at the time, Schnitzy. I don't mind the challenge by Mike O'Shea because it's worth a shot. With Montreal being set up at the 14-yard line early in the game, like what was the score at that point?
3-0 Winnipeg.
It's late in the first quarter. Winnipeg's trailing, and Montreal gets set up. What was it? Was it actually? Yeah, it was 3-0 Winnipeg. So it's early in the first quarter, and Montreal would have had the ball at the 14-yard line, or did get the ball at the 14-yard line. And O'Shea thought, yeah, it's early. A lot of people are like, well, you got to save your challenge. Use it when you can, or else it goes to waste. So if you can maybe get a no yards call to save a turnover in the red zone, yeah, I don't mind that challenge. It was close. It was exactly 5 yards, as we showed you there. So
can I ask you something about the halo though, Darren? And I just thought of this now, and this is why I love the CFL, because every game there's something new. There's a new wrinkle where I'm like, I've been watching this game for 3 decades and I don't know the answer to this, but maybe that says more about me. The halo, is it just vertical or is it diagonal? Because that guy on the far right of the screen that you showed, it looked like Mitchell caught it at the 15. It looked like he was on like the 18-yard line, which is within the halo.
The halo is a halo. It's 5 yards in any direction around the returner. So it's not just vertical, it's any direction. And nobody was within 5 yards.
Okay.
The guys straight up to him, like Beverette and I think, I don't know if it was Duquois or someone else in the middle there. Might have been Cosby. Those guys straight up to Myron Mitchell, might have been right at 5 yards, but especially
not gonna
video review,
overturn
you
that.
need overwhelming evidence.
Yeah, totally.
So I have no issue with that. Here is a highlight from the game, and this was early, and great pressure up the middle from the Blue Bombers that made Cody Fajardo, like this was pressure the other way, and it pressured Cody Fajardo. There's Celestin Haba right in his face, and Brian Cole, Johnny on the spot. He's able to grab that ball and get a nice return out of it too to set Winnipeg up. Now, a couple plays later, it was just 10 yards on the drive. They got a field goal out of it. But great job here from Winnipeg's defense to get in Fajardo's face early. But the offense, Schnitzy, went to start the game. Winnipeg's offense went 2 and out, then 2 and out. Then they got the ball after that Brian Cole interception and went 4 plays for 10 yards, kicked a field goal. And then the next time Winnipeg's offense had the ball, 2 and out, and then another 2 and out after that. So 5 possessions, and they went either 2 and out or 10 yards on 4 plays for a field goal. After that, they were able to march down the field, and they flipped the field. They went from their own 31. They got it just past midfield. I think they were around the Montreal 40, maybe 35-yard line. And that's when the interception to Marc-Antoine Duquois happened off the arm of Kolaris and the pressure from Sean Lemon. So if you want the story of this game, Winnipeg's offense was nowhere near good enough. Special teams, cover teams were okay. Return, there's going to be a lot of criticism about Myron Mitchell. What did you see from him? My take? Well, I'll wait for yours. Go ahead.
Well, he fumbled. Now, you'd have to, I wasn't there. I didn't see this play. I don't know if it was so much a fumble as a takeaway by Montreal, because don't forget, the other team causes the fumble. So was it a great play by Montreal's cover team? I don't know. What would you say to that, to flip it back to you?
I think it was a good strip from...
Okay.
It was a good strip from Tyrese Beverette.
Beverette, right? Talking about him again, right? He also had a good knockdown late in the game. Yeah. So other than that, I didn't see much from Mitchell. I didn't see him hitting the holes particularly well. I didn't see much speed from him on his returns. Like, he was fine. He fielded the balls.
42, I'm not sure who that is, but 42 lays a licking on him. And Tyrese Beverette rips it out. So here's another look. This is Myron Mitchell fielding it at the 15. Cuts up field, and as 42 tackles him, Beverette rips it out, and there's Cosby to take the ball and recover it. So overall, I thought Myron Mitchell was... I'd give him a C grade.
Yeah.
Because he touched the ball as a returner once in the preseason. One time. Had a nice 20, 25-yard return on a kickoff in the final preseason game. But he handled everything today, kickoffs and punts. And for a CFL rookie who, in talking to Mike Miller, if you haven't seen it, go to the Bonfire after the show tonight. Go to our channel, and you'll be able to see my one-on-one interview with Buck Pierce, as well as our interviews with new special teams coordinator Mike Miller, new defensive coordinator Jordan Younger. But Mike Miller talked about what they liked of Myron Mitchell, and that he's not just fast, but he's physical. I was told that he is pretty fearless running in traffic. So I'm not going to crap on a guy because he didn't do something Janarian Grant has done in a highlight reel in his first pro game. Okay. I'm going to give him a little bit more slack than that. I advise fans to do the same.
I would agree. I'd give him a C. He didn't stand out. He didn't, crap the bed entirely. He he let one punt go for a single, Darren, which I think is important when you're playing the field position game.
Made the right move. Yep.
Although Mike O'Shea coached him up right ahead of time, I could basically read O'Shea's lips saying, if it goes in the within the 10-yard line, let it go. And then the fans around me were like groaning. They're like, "Oh no, not a single." I'm like, "That's what he's supposed to do, folks."
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought he was okay, TP, but nothing special. I got to say this. He doesn't look like a returner. He seems pretty tall and lanky, doesn't he? Returners are usually shorter guys, speedier guys.
He's 6'1". Well, Javon Leake is 6'1", 6'2".
Is he?
Yeah. Special teams player of the year in 23. Now with the Edmonton Elks, of course, was with Toronto last year. This is the little check down pass that really turned into a nice play. And then at the end, it's the tackler from behind. I think it's Darnell Sankey, who just comes in behind Nick Dembski and rips it out. Watch closely. Number 1 in pursuit here. Boom. Right there is able to, pardon me, pop it out here. If I can stop it. There we go. Here's number 1 on the right side of your screen. You see him right here? That's Darnell Sankey. And as Dembski finds contact here with Marc-Antoine Ducroix, that's Ducroix's helmet right into Dembski's shoulder. Here comes Sankey behind him to punch it out. And make the play.
It's, Dembski does he doesn't hold the ball quite as close to his body as you'd like. That was another turnover, Darren, that was a real killer. It's only 14-5 at that point. The defense, despite the turnovers and the shoddy play on special teams, the defense was holding us in that game. And you showed the stats earlier. And for Dembski to cough it up there was a real killer, I thought.
Yeah.
And he was over the 50-yard line. They were marching into, it was a nice play. It was a nice screen play to beat the blitz there. Montreal was bringing a lot of pressure all night with different packages, and I thought it was a well-designed play by Buck Pierce. And just to cough it up there, I mean, credit Montreal's defense, right? They're not turnovers, they're takeaways. Montreal took the ball away 3 times, or 4 actually.
Yeah. Montreal won this game. I don't know if I would say Winnipeg lost it. I would say Montreal won the game. The only unit I'm most concerned with is the offense. And it's funny, I stepped in on the CGOB pregame show from the tailgate area, as I'll do this season, or at least for a stretch here, while Teddy gets better. And, just to pinch hit for him. And we're talking about, concern on the offense, concern in the run game, changes to the offensive line, and namely Eric Lofton. That wasn't the concern tonight. It was more pass protection than the run game. It was more execution of plays, being more responsible with the football than, the run game not getting going. Montreal was just better. And here's a perfect example of it. This is the flea flicker touchdown to Philpott, but you'll see this was a heck of a play call. Heck of a play call from Jason Moss.
Yeah. Colaris era.
I do really, really like, and apologies if that audio keeps chopping in for you guys. I do love this effort from Evan Holm late to really try to rip it out. Yeah. That's a nice play. You like to see that. You do like to see that. Schnitzy, before, look, I want to talk about a couple plays in this game, and that is, of course, I haven't been following, but I have very little doubt that anybody has received an official update on the health status of Kenny Lawler, but injured in the first half, would not return. It's officially an upper body injury. Others have reported that it's an arm injury or a hand injury. We don't know. Sometimes players get hurt and they grab their wrist and it's their shoulder, right? They're stabilizing the arm. So you never really know what it is until you know what it is. I want to look at the Kenny Lawler injury. We're going to pull that video up in just a second. I had a real fun time pulling that video because it's not just like on Twitter. Big thanks to the CFL and TSN for making that part easy. But I pulled the video, and also the Chris Streveler play prior to Reggie Stubblefield getting injured. Just moments earlier, he really wrenched the ankle of the Blue Bombers' short yardage quarterback, Chris Streveler. Very reminiscent of the Grey Cup game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
That's right, buddy. 2019. Yeah, when Strevy got an objectionable conduct penalty there.
Yeah. So before we do that, got to thank our sponsors. Thank you so much for the support. Scotswood Links, look at that beautiful course. Look at that. Gorgeous. 18 holes, super well developed, spanning a landscape of forest and prairie meadow. It's just 30 minutes outside the city. Like, the perimeter and McGilvery, 30 minutes and you're there. It's a breeze of a drive. Course is in great shape. My contacts there, the Sisson family, they tell me they don't BS. They don't blow smoke. If the greens are good, they'll say they're good. If they're great, they'll say they're great. Well, a few days ago, there has been a little bit of rain, but I imagine if it's nice and dry this weekend, the greens, he said, were, quote, fantastic condition. They've made tons of renovations there over the years, including a beautiful new clubhouse, their restaurant, their lounge, great food, tasty drinks, perfect patios to kick back with your friends, beautiful banquet facilities there. Here's the thing. If you go to scotswoodlinks.com, there's how you spell it. It's right there on your screen. Scotswood with 1 T, scotswoodlinks.com/bonfire. You'll get yourself a nice deal on a foursome with power cards. How about that?
Power card. It sounds strong and impressive.
You golf, Schnitzy?
No, I don't golf. My arms are too short. I told you last show. My arms are too short.
That's not an excuse. That is not an excuse.
I can't swing properly. I hit myself.
By the way, there's well over 500 people watching live right now. Many more have come and gone as the evening progresses, but you see over here, what's that? The fire's still raging. It's still going.
It's a nice feature, Darrin. I do like it. It's nice and toasty over there, buddy.
Mm-hmm. And humid, because that's all it is.
Is it?
I didn't mean to say that out loud. Let's keep the mystique real,
keep the
okay?
Mystique, buddy. Now you've ruined it for me. It's just a humidifier. Come on.
No. Before we get into that Chris Streveler video, as well as the injury, the play where Kenny Lawler sustained an injury, do also have to thank Pure Lifestyle. They are just a top-notch facility. They will take care of you, whatever your healthcare needs may be. Physio, occupational health, strength and conditioning, really, really nice gym facilities. Like, check that out. They got the air bike and tons of treadmills and bikes and different things. Unbelievable trainers there. If you want to check out their executive health programs, those sorts of things. What I've really been impressed with at Pure is that they're just really, really great people. I've never felt intimidated there. It's not I've said it before, it's not an Instagram gym, right? Like, you go there, you do your work, and you leave feeling great because, everybody's there to kind of help each other. It's just a great atmosphere. So be sure to check them out. 1129 Empress Street. And they got a new physio on Pembina Highway, 2265 Pembina. They've also got, this is really cool, Schnitzy. They've got a brand new medical clinic. So if you need family health specialists, those sorts of things, and a new they've got a new walk-in clinic for minor injuries. So you don't have to wait at the ER or go to Pan Am and wait for 8 hours anymore. You're going to get in really quick at Pure Lifestyle. So 1129 Empress. It's right by Garbage Hill. So if you know where Garbage Hill is, that's where Pure is. And yeah, tell them Bonfire sent you. You won't regret it. They'll take care of you. And go get your GP. You need a new family doctor. They'll take care of you there.
Look how good you look, Darrin. I mean, you're just a ringing endorsement for that place. Look at you handsome man.
Feeling good. You know what? It's all the gear. It's all the gear.
Oh, that's a nice T-shirt. I want one of those.
Yeah, but we changed the logo.
I know.
I wanted Winnipeg.
You did.
Winnipeg needed to be bigger.
Mr. Da Vinci.
Da Vinci.
You know what? Just the thing about Pure, like to have an alternative to sit and wait at Pan Am for all those hours, that's huge. Like that,
yeah.
That's something people should really pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah, no question.
You want to see something cool, Darrin? For those podcast listeners.
Oh, nice.
This is a vintage 1991 Grey Cup souvenir glass.
Put that right up to the camera. I want to see that. Oh,
Look at that.
Let's see if I can zoom.
Look at that beauty. My buddy Damien got this for me. I was sitting with him today and his dad, Fred. Of course, the incomparable Fred Penner. Name dropping.
Beautiful.
Look at that with the golden boy on there. It says Canada's Hotspot, Grey Cup Festival, Winnipeg 91.
That was the first Grey Cup that the CFL sold to a franchise. Winnipeg paid $1 million to host that Grey Cup.
Did they really?
Yep. And they made it back. They made it back and probably then some. So back then, that was pretty good.
Wasn't that the first time that Winnipeg hosted the Grey Cup?
It was. Because it was the first time the CFL said, if you want it, buy it.
Pay for it. Interesting.
And they did. And, it makes a lot of sense because, teams were tight on cash. The league was tight on cash in the, the early 90s. Right. It was part of the reason why they did the American expansion. And, it ended up working out for everybody. So
Indeed, my friend.
So here is the, in the first half, Kenny Lawler got injured and hate to see it, but this is the play as they showed a replay on the TSN broadcast. Seemingly harmless play where Lawler just gets tackled, goes down to the ground, and he's shaking his arm off. So I'll pull it back here. But this is all it is. It's his right arm, his right hand, who knows, but it looks like it, probably catches the helmet here for the defender. And then he goes down to the ground and the shoulder, it could be that moment as well. He could have just popped a wrist out, could have popped a finger out. The camera does pull away at that point, so it's hard to tell, but here's Lawler kind of walking away and shaking it off.
So if he's shaking it off, does that mean you think that's a shoulder or a wrist?
Oh, I think it's something. I'm not a doctor, but purely speculating, I think it's something like elbow, arm, wrist, hand, finger, something like that.
Yeah.
Just the way he kind of watch him when he pops up, he's just shaking it out, hey, yeah, that hurts, and then he kind of grabs his wrist. So here's the play or pardon me, that was the next play. But
that was Chris Ike who should have caught that ball. But
right.
Kenny Lawler, if it was just a finger out of place, don't they pop those back in, or is that sort of a?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's broken.
I don't know.
Maybe he ripped a tendon. Maybe his hand got sliced open. Maybe his wrist dislocated. Maybe he pinched a nerve. Maybe he broke a bone in his arm. Maybe he ripped a muscle. It could be so many different things.
Well, when he was walking off the field, he was cradling his arm and he was holding it by the wrist. Take that for what you will, folks.
Yeah. Yeah. What was definitely not a wrist was Chris Streveler. And this was early in the third quarter. Check this out. This is crazy. And I mean, it happens in football all the time. But 3rd and 1, Winnipeg on their own 36. Great cable cam shot here of Chris Streveler running off the edge. And there's Stubblefield number 2. And Yeah, Chris Streveler doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. And why would he? Ridiculous. And talking to the official saying, hey, he's cranking my leg. This is a really good look here. Big kudos to TSN for getting a great tight look on Streveler. There's Stubblefield. And then you see there at the end.
Yeah. That is an amazing look at it.
The tackle is down, okay? And you can even see Stubblefield's helmet up. And Stubblefield decides, tackle's done. There it is. He's down, okay? At this point, you would let go. I mean, you might hang on for a second, half a second, but watch what Stubblefield does. You see that final little jam into the ground? Yeah. Right there. He is twisting Chris Streveler's leg. Right here. And down on it.
Ooh.
You see that?
That's
brutal.
Vicious, man. Vicious.
It is vicious.
How hard are those to call in real time, though? Like, people will be on the refs for missing that, but, like, they don't see it. They just see Streveler steaming mad after. But I bet you it's hard to catch those in real time.
This is, I think it's great that the Bombers have Fan Fest and the fans can get down on the field and that sort of thing. Because until you are on a football field, you don't realize how big it is, especially in the CFL. So, yeah, you could have 6-8 officials on the field, but with so much going on, like I know, obviously, a couple of them are watching the ball carrier. They're watching, there's others watching away because they're looking for objectionable conduct and illegal blocks and all types of things away from the play. But those that are watching the play, they see that tumble to the ground, Stubblefield and Streveler. And from a distance, it probably doesn't look like much. But when we micro dissect it like that, and TSN has the perfect angle of the camera, it's like, wow, okay, he was really wrenching his ankle. Interesting. Pulling Tim Capper here. I don't think it was a dirty play.
What? You're a homer, though. Come on, Tim. Even for... Check out his podcast, Alouettes Flight Deck, by the way. But good guy, Tim Capper. But come on,
it's your boy, Bruce. He's got my back. DB has the receipts. Yes, I do. Yeah. And then a couple plays later, Stubblefield, it really looked like a non-contact injury where he needed to be carted off the field. Now, I don't want to see any player get hurt.
No.
Hate to see a player get hurt and get carted off the field. Would never wish that on anybody. I simply wanted to point out the irony that in one moment, he's really trying to hurt, not injure, hopefully, but hurt an opponent. And then a couple plays later, he's being carted off the field on a non-contact injury. It's just coincidentally ironic.
Yeah, coincidentally ironic. That sounds like a 1990s Canadian grunge band or something, buddy.
Like the name of an album from an East Coast. Yeah. Okay, Schnitzy, let's get into it. You got a Walby's Warrior tonight before we get into Westwood's Wide to the Right, the Bonfire Burning Point, the Happy Honker, and Game Balls. I know I'm missing one. I always do.
I may do this all season, Darrin, but I have to come at left field from the Walby's Warrior perspective, and it's my mother-in-law, who I love so much, and she's battling cancer right now, buddy. Just like our good buddy at the Winnipeg Sun. And she's my warrior. She came out to the game. She had her cane. She walked up and down the stairs. She stayed for almost the whole game. And she's my warrior on a night, where the Bombers didn't inspire. She inspires me every day, my friend. And so
good for you.
She gave me permission to share that, and she's my warrior. Mother-in-law.
That's a great one. Good for you. Love it.
Yeah.
Walby's Warrior and well deserved. I'm going to go a little bit off the board. And I'm going to take a Blue Bombers defensive player that not too many people may have heard of, but Jamal Woods. Jamal Woods is the Blue Bombers rookie defensive tackle. He wears number 91. Whenever I was watching the D line really close, Woods was giving incredible effort. Now, Adams, their rookie defensive end, number 94, Devin Adams, he also had a great game. Great game. I think he even got a sack. But I'm giving it to the Blue Bombers rookie defensive tackle working on the inside, Jamal Woods, first-year player out of Illinois, University of Illinois. That's my my Walby Warrior tonight. Fans were great. Lots of Warriors deserving of it tonight. But yeah, I like yours. You definitely nailed that one. You got a Westwood wide to the right moment you didn't like in this game.
Well, can I just say one thing, Darren? Like, if there's some positives to take away from this before we get to Westwood's wide to the right, I think you're right. I think the defense, like the stats will show, the defense played pretty well. And with, a new DC and Jordan Younger and a bunch of new faces like Woods, like Devin Adams, like Terrell Bonds, Brian Cole playing more of a role. I thought they acquitted themselves pretty well. So if you're a Bombers fan looking for something positive to take out of this game, I think the defense didn't look half bad.
Yeah. Brian Cole had a game high 7 total tackles, 6 on defense, 7 on specials. 1 on specials for 7 total. Had the interception and a return of 40 yards that set up a Sergio Castillo chip shot field goal. Brandon Alexander, I know he took a penalty, a face masking penalty late in the game, but I thought he brought some nice physicality. 5 tackles, same with Trey Ford. Terrell Bonds, I thought he really got picked on early in the game, and overall, I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah,
he's playing a tough spot too in that boundary corner. You're taking on top matchups there all the time, but. There's the rest of the Blue Bombers stats. There's Devin Adams with his sack right there. First game, first CFL sack. Not too bad there. And Myron Mitchell finished with a special teams tackle as well, of course. Why? Well, that was following his fumble. Winnipeg's offensive numbers, I don't even know if we looked too much at them, but Dalton Schoen got a lot of the work tonight. 5 catches on 9 targets. For 62 yards. That's a healthy average of 12.4. He had a second down conversion as well. Nick Dembski, 3 catches on 7 targets for 27 yards. Lawler had 26 yards. Wolotarski had 2 catches on both balls thrown his way for 33 yards. So obviously the receiving numbers not standing out too much. Brady Oliveira, down from his 5.9 yards per carry average last season, but it was hard to get things going when the longest run he had was 7 yards, 11 carries for 38 total. Johnny Augustine came in for a spell late in the game, a couple nice runs, one nice run for 14, and then it had another one kind of stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Chris Streveler, Schnitzy, Chris Streveler, I think this is, we're just cracking open the first can that will eventually spill down the chin and chest onto the fur coat. This is just the beginning of what we're going to see from Chris Streveler this year.
Oh, indeed, it's just the beginning. You even saw him. He got a design run today with Kolaris handed him the ball off. They're just scratching the surface, to use an overused metaphor, but they are scratching the surface at what Streveler can bring to this offense. Absolutely. So you asked me about Westwood's ride to the right. Well, there was Westwood's ride to the right and left with Sergio Castillo. Mm-hmm. It was just a microcosm of the game. Like seasoned vets like him and Kolaris and Evan Holm really not playing well. And to miss field goals is one thing. To miss 2 inside the 40,
yeah,
you've got to make those field goals. And if this would have been a tighter game, those would have been devastating misses. And luckily he gets a safety out of 1 because of the misplay by the Alouettes. But he also misses a PAT. You can't miss PATs in this league. You can't miss field goals inside the 40. You just can't do it. And I was really disappointed in Castillo. Apparently he was quite the ham in the huddle with Ed Tate. That video they do.
It was really good. It was
every
a really
Tuesday.
entertaining
I haven't caught it
episode.
yet, but
Yeah.
check it out, and I will as well. But yeah, I was really disappointed to see him struggle that much.
Yeah. Issue Boy Bruce with another good comment. Alouettes defense is legit. Bombers got to sort that out. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
for
a
sure.
reason Montreal's the Grey Cup champions, and it wasn't just because of a, fourth quarter drive, converting on third down and finding some Grey Cup magic. There was a reason they were in that game, and it's because their defense, their special teams, their offense too, all very, very good. There's Sergio Castillo's numbers, as you see there. 3 attempts, makes 1 from 17 yards, and then misses the others. I don't know if I have those. Those specific miss numbers. I'd have to look it up. I don't even know if people really care. You know what I mean?
Nah, they were both inside the 40. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Well, Westwood wide to the right. I'll ride with you, and we'll keep that one on Castillo. He needs more rice and beans. If you caught the episode, you know what I mean. He needs more rice and beans. Nearly 600 people watching live right now.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Huge support from everybody out there. Game 1, 2024 season. We're going to do this every single game, preseason, regular season, postseason, live after the Bombers play, home and away. We'll be right here cooking up the goods on the bonfire. We'll, show you some video highlights and chop it up with you. But great to see everybody throwing in the comments. Do us a favor. Don't hit the thumbs up button. That's a bad thing. You don't want to do that. You hear me? You don't want to do that. Don't hit the thumbs up. If you're listening to the podcast afterwards, you don't want to comment in your podcast app. Don't do that. We would not appreciate that at all. And if you're watching the video afterwards, don't comment. Don't hit thumbs up. Don't share it with your friends. Don't subscribe. Don't do those things. We don't need that around here. Okay? Schnitzy, am I clear?
You're very clear. I like your reverse psychology, my friend.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right?
You're talking about Freud, now you're talking about reverse psychology. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't hit that thumbs up, people.
What I'm talking
I don't want
about.
to see it. There's
that reverse
nearly
psychology works on 3-year-olds. I'll tell you that. It works on my son.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like you really want to climb on that counter, don't you, buddy? You really you want to climb on that counter and jump up and down and spill water everywhere. You really want to spill water everywhere. No.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Nothing works with him.
That's not reverse psychology.
Oh, well. I know.
That's
reverse
just asking him a
psychology.
Question. Yeah.
reverse.
Now you're playing 4D chess. I don't know what you mean by that.
Reverse the reverse psychology.
Well, hey, let's see if this works. One more time for good measure, because I want to make sure it hits the recording software. Sometimes it doesn't, and then I can get that on the podcast. Your happy honker in homage to the late, great Cactus Jack Wells. Who's your happy honker tonight? Or what is your happy honker tonight? Hit up the comments right now, too. Hit up the live chat. I want to know what you guys have for your Walby's Warrior, Westwood wide to the right, happy honker. We'll get into the burning point, too.
Yeah, my happy honker is a fun one today, Darren, and it was the award that I was most excited to give out today because the game was such a stinker. But I got in late in the first quarter, and I was walking to try and give a beer to a fan of our show, Scott Westman, but I couldn't find him, so I drank it myself. And I was walking up the stairs, and this guy like practically bear hugs me, and he's like, "Schnitzy, I'm a big fan of the show." His name was Johnny Coates. I think I got your name right, Johnny, if you're listening. And he says, "I love the show. To be honest, Schnitzy, all of your takes are absolute shit, but I love the show. You guys are great." And I'm like, "Johnny, what are you talking about?"
That's awesome.
So he just, he says like, you're an entitled Bomber fan. You're too negative. But I love your show." And I'm like, "Well, if you dislike half the show that much, there's only 2 of us. I don't know why you love the show, but anyway, he loves the show, even though I'm a blowhard. Of course, it must be you, Darren. But he made me laugh.
Well, it's like
very hard.
It's like hate watching, right? Or hate reading. Like I remember bumping into an old high school buddy, like 10, 15 years after graduation, if I can age myself, and being like, "Oh, do you work with that newspaper reporter?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know, he's a good guy." I can't stand that guy. And I'm like, "Oh, what is it?" And he's just like, "His takes are terrible, and I don't like his reporting, and I don't like his writing." And I'm like, "Well, how do you know you don't like? What do you mean you don't like him? Like, do you not read him, or do you read him?" And he goes, "I read him every week. I read him all the time." Mission accomplished. Hate watching. You want to hate watch us?
Right.
You can hate watch us. But if you're going to hate watch us, definitely hit the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Definitely comment and subscribe. But if you enjoy the show, don't do those things. Okay? Since I said that, Schnitzy, I was just like, now we're over 600 people watching.
I know,
live.
I see that.
I was like, do not hit the thumbs up. And like 10 people hit the thumbs up. I just said, don't do that. People are you guys are terrible listeners out there. Terrible listeners. You're good people. Terrible listeners. Just like the Bombers. Good football team. Terrible tonight.
Yeah.
Terrible.
They really sucked. They really sucked.
You got a bonfire burning point tonight? I didn't give a happy honker. I'll give the happy honker. I'll give the happy honker to Brian Cole.
All right.
Get a nice pick in your first game when they were kind of leaning on you to play more snaps. I will say this: Shane Gauthier at middle linebacker on the depth chart, like getting the start. No word of a lie, Schnitzy. No word of a lie. I don't know if I saw him on the field with the defense in the first half.
Who played middle linebacker? Was it Kyrie Wilson stepping in there and Brian Cole playing Will?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like we told you on Game Day Winnipeg, our pregame show with myself and Chris Welby, we do that every week as well. 3 p.m. the day before the game. So you can watch it live the day before the game, 3 o'clock, or you can watch it afterwards. Check it on the podcast app. We told you that.
You did say that. Yes, you did.
And that's not a shot at Shane Gauthier. There's a reason he was the week 1 starter at middle linebacker. It's the veteran nod, right? He has been there a long time. He is a huge contributor to this team. It's not just specials, but what he does in the room as a teammate. He's a great player, great man. But he's not the starting middle linebacker. It's Kyrie Wilson. Just saying. Bonfire Burning Point. Had some good ones here tonight. And the Bonfire Burning Point, apropos, Schnitzy, for it burning the Bombers.
Yeah, there you go. J.W. Bartell, 6. Dembski fumble burnt us. It absolutely burnt us. But I think you could make a case that the Bonfire Burning Point was the Mitchell fumble. And who was it? Cal Murphy that said, "What happened with the cannon?"
Well, when
went off after the missed convert, Ludacris Fox saying.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was gone by then, but anyway.
You know what? Stubblefield might get fined. T Winnipeg 204 mentioned and watching live on YouTube. What's going on, man? I'll call it now. Stubblefield gets suspended at some point this season, says T Winnipeg. He might get fined this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Timmy Caps. I'm a big fan of you, man. You know that. I'll probably be checking out your show later. Alouettes Flight Deck. You can find them on YouTube, and I'll just Google it, Alouettes Flight Deck. You can get their perspective after the game. Yeah, I'll send you a text. We'll talk about it. We'll see what happens if he gets fined or not.
Timmy C. No, my burning. What did Cal Murphy say? For every rookie on your team, you take an L or something like that.
Cal Murphy. I mean, yeah.
And Myron Mitchell, coughed up that ball on the punt return, set up Montreal, and they quickly scored there. But for me, actually, the burning point was when they were only down 14-5. The game was still in hand. I believe there was 8:27 left in the second quarter, Darren, And from the 31-yard line, Collaros rolls out. He gets pressured by Sean Lemon and throws that pick. And I thought that if they would have scored the touchdown there, then it's what, 14-12, right? It's a 2-point game in a game that the Bombers were kind of fumbling away. And I thought that was unfortunate, and it was the burning point for me. But you could give it to the Dembski fumble. There's a lot of burning points, and the Heat just seemed to ratchet up on the Bonfire burning points as the game went on.
Yeah. I'll say the Bonfire burning point was 4 or 5 2-and-outs from the offense in the first half. And I think, what did they finish with? I do know that the Bombers offense, or pardon me, the Bombers as a team had 40 yards in penalties in the first half. What did they finish with? 5 penalties for 65 yards. I think they had 2 or 3 for 40 at the half. They finished with 65 yards in penalties. I mean, you start getting into that 80, 75, 85 range. That's when Mike O'Shea will be like, this is bullshit. He won't say that. I will. 5 for 65 for the first game of the season. It's okay. Not too bad. The Alouettes finished with 4 penalties for 33 yards. But the 3 turnovers, the penalties in the first half, the ineptitude on offense in the first half, I know that's not a singular point, but those are my 3 points for the Bonfire burning point tonight. Yeah.
It's in the plural. It's fair. They're all very good points, Darren.
Yeah. So are we left with game balls?
We are left with game balls. Yeah.
Okay. You going first, or should I?
Plurals. You go first.
Okay. Well, I will give a game ball to defensive coordinator Jordan Younger. His first game as a DC in pro football. Great player, great coach as the defensive backs coach in Winnipeg over the last number of years. And now the defensive coordinator. He's creative. He is a fierce competitor. He prepares incredibly well. And in talking to the players on the team, he just garners respect for how he treats them as men. I thought the defense, with a lot of new pieces, 2 rookie corners, a bunch of new rookies playing defensive line, and of course, no Adam Bighill. So, having to have some young guys step in there and contribute as well, like Suleiman Karamoko and, Brian Cole. I wouldn't say he's a young guy anymore. He's been here for a couple of years and he played quite a bit last year. But I think, he's an emerging player in this defense, Brian Cole. I'm giving a game ball to the DC, Jordan Younger. Coach JY, they call him. I thought he called a pretty dang good game.
Well, that's a good pick, buddy. That is a good pick. I don't know if I... For someone who usually gives out game balls like they're going out of style, I don't even know if I have one.
See, Bombers lose 27-12, and you're like, screw it.
Yeah, I'm done. I don't even know if I have a game. Like, if I had to get, like, Brian Cole might get a nod for getting a pick there and stepping in at will linebacker. I honestly think I'd give one to Chris Streveler. I think he had 32 yards rushing. Nothing exceptional, Darren, but I thought he played with some fire on a night where a lot of the offense didn't look like they were playing with much fire, even though they got burned. I thought Chris Streveler played with some passion. He played with some fire. He was really, the Bomber fans at the Madhouse, as you call it, really only got out of their seats a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times, to cheer and get pumped up and amped up, right? Yep. And I think Strevy really got everyone amped up. When he got injured on that Stubblefield play, on the dirty play, he almost went to the house there. Like, Stubblefield just caught him on a short yardage play, and that's what Chris Streveler can do, right? Like, he can be on 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1, and he can rip off a 50-yard run. He's that explosive, And I think they're just scratching the surface today of what Screvler can do, because he wasn't just coming in on short yardage. He was coming in on 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4. Like he's really a dynamic part of this offense.
Yeah. Larry Ward asking, are there any old rookies? Yep. Definitely. Do you remember Dom Davis, the Blue Bombers backup quarterback?
Yes, very well.
Dom Davis had been in pro football for 6 or 7 years. He'd been in pro football. He came out of what was it? South Dakota or South Carolina State. They were the Pirates. You know, they're purple and gold. They were definitely the Pirates, like South Carolina State or East Carolina. Anyway, 7 years after leaving his NCAA program, 7 years, he's with this NFL team and this NFL team, and he's in Europe and he's playing everywhere, but not getting into any games. He comes to the CFL because he hadn't played in an NFL game or a CFL game. He's a rookie. He was like 28, 29 years old. Corey Watson. Remember the Bombers draft pick, Corey Watson? Joe Mack era? He was 28 years old, drafted out of, I think it was Sherbrooke in Quebec.
28?
He's 28.
Just finishing university at 28?
That's back in those days. You could play junior for 5 years and then play university for 5 years, or vice versa.
No, that makes sense.
So like there were grown ass dudes, grown ass men playing against, 19-year-olds, 18, 19-year-olds. It was crazy. Yeah, I'm with Matt Neal. I like this comment. What's going on, Matt? Thanks for joining us, watching live on YouTube. Matt says, Myron Mitchell needs to go back to the red shoes and gloves. He changed his jersey number to 0, but if you were ever at camp or you saw him in the preseason games, he was wearing 29, red shoes, red gloves. Alabama, Birmingham, I think was his college. I think they're red. So,
all right, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Darrin, I know we're trying to wrap up here, but Scott Roger brings up something, and rightful up, Scott Roger. Love you, buddy. He says Montreal's sign guy blocking fans' views was garbage. Trying to block camera view of defensive coach calls, brutal. That's not the first time I've heard that from tonight. What is that all about? Do we know?
So, I don't. And Scott, correct us if I'm wrong. But I do think that, okay, for those that don't know, there's a guy on the Montreal Alouettes sideline. He's got a big piece of cardboard. I'm trying to show you screen like this.
Yeah, no, it was a huge piece of cardboard.
He's got this piece of cardboard that's it's huge. It's absolutely
it's like 3 feet by 3 feet or something.
Oh, 4 by 4 probably, right? And it's just got an Alouettes logo on it, and he holds it up right before the play call or while the play is being called. So the Bombers players and the Bombers coaches on the Bombers sideline across the field can't see Noel Thorpe, their defensive coordinator, do his signals to his players on the field. So correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. I don't think that happened during game action, but it was definitely blocking people's view pre-snap. Yeah, I mean, it's legal. You're allowed to do that. Yeah. Who was that sign guy? It was a coach. Yeah. Teams do that all the time. Yeah. You're right, Jeffrey.
So they're just trying to cover up what the coordinator is calling.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I don't know if I want to give out any more game balls. I mean,
brutal.
Yeah. Forgettable. Oh, I got one. All of you out there, our numbers have been growing from season to season, and especially from week to week in 2024, like preseason game 1, preseason game 2. Now we're into the regular season, well over 600 watching live. The game ended like an hour and a half ago. We're in our second hour here at GameDay After Dark. You guys out there make Bonfire Sports. Thank you. You get a game ball, and you get a game ball, and you get a game ball, and so do you. Awesome. Love seeing it. And our sponsors, Scotswood Links and Pure Lifestyle, they really appreciate it as well. And maybe you want to get your business's message out here. Give me a call. Bonfire Hotline, 204-816-TIPS, 816-8477. Standard message rates apply, just like you're texting your mama. That's right. See?
I gotta stop yelling into that mic.
We're a little bit preseason mode, you and I. We're gonna get clicking like the Bombers offense, game 2.
Well, Darrin told me I got to stop yelling into the mic. What did you call me in the business? What do they call me? A yeller?
A yeller.
Loud?
You're a yeller. You're not a chicken. You're a yeller.
I'm a yeller.
Yeah, like when you get excited, you like lean into the mic and yell.
I know. I got to stop. Folks, I'm not trained in this. I'm just an amateur here.
You know what?
Darrin is coaching me up every time.
Nah.
I'm like, Darrin, what are your notes? He's like, stop yelling.
Well, because I'm editing the podcast. I got to like crank your mic down and balance everything out. But no, Schnitzy, do not change, man. People come here for your energy. I'm the boring, balanced, objective reporter. You are the fun, bombastic, passionate, bleeding blue and gold super fan. So
except if you're Johnny Coates, he doesn't appreciate my takes. He says my takes are shit.
Okay,
I love it.
There will always be somebody out there who will say your takes are shit, and there will always be somebody out there that'll say mine are shit too. That's okay.
That's not possible. That's not possible, Darrin.
Yeah, this is interesting. Schnitzy kind of looks like Zach tonight. Yeah, you look like Zach
Schnitzer, like missing the easy ones. Missing the layups? I don't know.
Maybe.
We don't know what Kyle's saying.
When is the next show? It's this simple, okay? Pregame, every game, the day before the game. We go live at 3 o'clock. Myself and the legend, he's on the Ring of Honor inside the Madhouse on Matheson, Chris Walby, number 63. The day before the game, live at 3 o'clock here on Bonfire Sports. And immediately after every game, home and away, yours truly, Schnitzy, Zach Schnitzer, right here on GameDay After Dark. And be sure to check back to Bonfire Sports often, okay? Because if you haven't, or maybe you have, I think I threw up like 3 different interviews today. Go check out my one-on-one conversation with Zach Collaros. Go check out my one-on-one with Buck Pierce. Maybe you'll get some of the answers you're looking for. Had a great sit down with Drew Wolodarski. Like we just kicked back for like 15 minutes. That was fun.
Yeah. I really love the interviews you're throwing up on Bonfire on the YouTube page and on the website, Darrin. It's really adding a richness to the fan experience in terms of getting to know guys.
That's kind, man.
And you don't, and like you said, like you said this to me privately, but like sometimes you'll have stuff from O'Shea that they don't even catch, that they don't even post on the website. Like it's the full interview. So if you really want to deep dive, it's fun stuff to listen to, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I don't even have enough time anymore to take in all the Bonfire content with the pregame.
Well, you better sub to the
interviews.
Sub to the podcast.
There's lots.
And you can just have it on.
There's so much there. You know, I do want to say
this is high praise. Sorry, Poopy Pants says I did a great job. I'm cool. I'm good. My night's made. Have a great weekend. See you later.
Poopy Pants.
Yeah.
What a great handle, Poopy Pants.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it. T Kona Pauly. Thanks, boys. Thank you, Pauly. Appreciate you, man.
Always with the cap lock, buddy.
Yeah, later, all.
Love
absolutely. That. Well, you want to just leave it there? Bombers lose 27-12 tonight. CFL week 1.
Yeah.
Underway. Montreal knocks off the Bombers. Hamilton at Calgary tomorrow night, 8 o'clock for a late Friday game. I'll be enjoying that one. Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock, Riders at Elks. Both of these games, by the way, are 1-point spreads. So there's probably some good betting opportunities on SIA.com/bonfire. And then Sunday, June 9th, week 1 wraps up with the BC Lions in Toronto. Can the Lions actually win in the Big Smoke? They have not had a lot of success there, but this could be the time.
Well, and that they should have done it last year, but Bo Levi Mitchell coming back to Calgary, that'll be fun. You have the Chris Jones spurning the Riders. Now he's back with the Elks. It'll be fun. I'm going to look forward to watching all the games this weekend.
Connor Hrabchak in the live chat. What's going on, Connor? Good to see you,
and I have
buddy.
been chatting on the Twitter, formerly known as Twitter,
formerly known as X.
Great show, Winnipeg Sports Talk. I don't need to say that. You all watch Winnipeg Sport, or you listen to it. And
if you're watching Winnipeg Sports Talk the day before the Bombers game, you will join us automatically when WST wraps up. So big thanks to Huss and Remo and the gang there. But pregame, postgame, every game, and tons of other interview content and Bomber stuff up on the YouTube channel. Subscribe. Don't put the thumbs up. I'm still telling you people, every time I say it, another 10 people put the thumbs up. Don't give the video a thumbs up. Do not do that right now. Okay, good.
Okay,
all right. As long as we're on the same page. Yeah.
I got you, DB.
Okay, Schnitzy, that will wrap it up for us. I'm getting some text messages here from my keepers. So I'm going to wrap it up. But as the resident dad of Bonfire Sports, you need to hit the hay and take care of your fam and have a great weekend. Okay, and
Thanks,
shake it
brother.
off. Don't worry. Bombers may have lost, but there's always tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow. That's a long season, and like we learned last year, DB, doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you end up in that fourth quarter of the Grey Cup, right? That's what matters. No one's going to remember this game if they can, bring the dynasty home 3 and 5 years. That's all I care about.
Yep, that'll do it.
Because I'm an entitled fan, according to Johnny Coates. All I care about is the Grey Cup.
Get over it.
Johnny Coates, you're a beauty, buddy. I had a good laugh. That made my night. And made my night being on here with you, DB, and all the Firestarters. And enjoy the rest of the games this weekend. And sayonara.